Hi, everyone. I'm Hasian Sinaga, the Director of Community and Workforce Empowerment. I'm so happy to be here today celebrating APA Mental Health Day. And in recognition of APA Mental Health Day, RAMS will be sharing some different activities, including recipes that staff and family members have developed over the years and what meaning that brings to our families. So today I am going to be introducing my sister who is in Los Angeles today, and she will be preparing a recipe that's very dear to our family's hearts called Beef Rendang. And it's developed by my mother over many years as she's perfected this. And my sister Denise has had the opportunity to be able to prepare this recipe in many different ways and really bring a lot of memories in gatherings through food in our family and our relationships. So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce my sister. Hi, Denise. Good to see you.
Hi, Hasi. I'm so thrilled that you asked me to help demonstrate this recipe because it's one of our family's legendary heirloom recipes that came from our mother, Ellen. And it's an Indonesian dry curry. It's called beef rendang, and it's cooked in spices and coconut milk, and it's really delicious. I don't know if you have any special memories about it, but I certainly do. What do you remember about it?
I remember a couple birthdays, celebrations, and I remember asking mom specifically to make beef rendang for one of my birthdays. Other things that I remember is that mom would make it quite frequently for our church potluck gatherings, and that was really, you know, um, a really big part of our family rituals during the week. Remember, like we would have choir practice or band practice, and folks would come over to the house for potluck, and mom would always have the beef rendang there. And people loved it. And I secretly think we had more people come to our church potluck because of mom's beef rendang. So wonderful memories. And of course, over the years, mommy and yourself too have, shared the beef rendang recipe at many of the entertaining meals and celebrations that we've had more recently. So really, when I think about beef rendang, it really warms my heart because all the memories I have associated with this beef has all been very positive, very unifying, and very strengthening. What about you, Den?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. When we first came here as siblings to the US to go to school, um, the food was something that we wanted to recreate because it would remind us of home. And we went around and remember, we went to different restaurants, Southeast Asian restaurants, and tried their beef rendang. None of it came close to what mom's beef rendang was. So, unfortunately, mom doesn't write down her recipes. She doesn't go by any printed recipes. So
Yep.
we've had to, through trial and error,
Yep.
we've had to recreate the recipe. So what I'm going to show you today and demonstrate today is our recreation of her original recipe. And I hope we do it justice. But I feel like I want this to bring families closer together because it certainly does ours every time we serve it. And it just, like you said, it reminds us of home, it reminds us of gatherings, and it reminds us of love.
Well said, Denise. Thank you. And thank you for sharing your time and your expertise. This is wonderful. And to everyone
Awesome.
else who's going to be able to watch this recording, we hope you too can enjoy this recipe if you have a chance to make it, and hope that you have wonderful memories as you share this with others in your community.
Okay, so let's get
Okay.
started.
Before we get started, I want to ensure that you have a couple of key pieces of equipment. One is a large heavy-duty stock pot or a Dutch oven because it's going to be sitting on the stove where the meat is going to be braising for long periods of time. So you want to ensure that you have a heavy-duty stock pot. You also need a blender because we're going to blend up most of the ingredients and throw that in the stock pot as well. Speaking of ingredients, you'll be getting at the end of this video the recipe, but I will go over the ingredients with you right here. I like to get it all prepped before I get started so that I just throw it into the blender and off we go. So we start out with some salt. This is a tablespoon of kosher salt, ground turmeric, 2 teaspoons of that. This is 3 teaspoons of chili powder, which gives it a smoky flavor. Now you may not want to have it that spicy, but we like it that way. You can reduce it if need be. 4 teaspoons of ground coriander. This is fish sauce. I usually use this brand, but you can use any brand. I like that. And then that's about 4 tablespoons of fish sauce. This is 2 teaspoons of galangal or Laos powder, 2 teaspoons of white sugar, 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, and then this is 1 cup of tamarind liquid. You'll also need 2 cinnamon sticks. These are then 4 Indonesian bay leaves. It's called Daun Salam, but don't use regular bay leaves. If you don't have Indonesian bay leaves or Daun Salam, you can use curry leaves. Certainly you can find these Daun Salam packets in the Asian market or on Amazon. You can order it. Then you'll need some star anise. There are 6 pods of star anise, 6 pods of whole cloves, 6 pods of cardamom, 12 cloves of garlic. You will also need 2 cans of coconut milk. Then your fresh ingredients will include 4 medium to large onions, 2 lemongrass stalks, some galangal, and some ginger. These are from the same family, but they provide a layer of flavor when you mix the two. And then red chilies. Now, it's up to you how spicy you would like your curry to be, but you know, 5 or 6 of them is what we like. Be sure to seed your red chili because the spice is really in the seeds. So if you end up using 5 red chilies, make sure you seed them, and I cut them up like this. In terms of the galangal and the ginger, I cut them up into big chunks. They're about 2 inches each, but I cut them up into big chunks, and then I also cut up the onions into big chunks. And then we will come to the last ingredient, which is the piece de resistance. And that's the beef. So most beef rendang recipes call for beef chuck. I have decided that over trial and error that the short ribs with all the fat and marbling is the best cut to use for beef rendang. Don't worry about trimming any of the fat off. It really provides flavor. This is obviously not a low caloric dish, but it really does provide that mouthfeel that you're looking for in a beef rendang. So I go to Costco and I get their beef rendang. They come in trays like this, and I usually get 2 trays. So what I do is I also cut them up into chunks about this size. Okay. So I'll show you how I do that right now. The long braise will break down the fibers and you'll get a really silky, melt in your mouth beef that has been cooked in that marination and the coconut milk, and it is really quite extraordinary. The chunks don't really necessarily have to be precisely exact or similar in size. I cut it up however, and then I throw that into the pot. Okay, so now it's time to blend up our ingredients, and I'll do that right now. So next you want to blend up these ingredients. The onions that are chopped up, roughly chopped. Large chunks of the ginger. Your garlic cloves. Your chilies, your red chilies, seeded and chopped. And then a can of coconut milk to wash it down. Okay, so now that we have blended those ingredients, we're going to add it to our stock pot. And add a little bit more of that coconut milk, the second can, to sort of wash out the rest of those ingredients. Then add all the other ingredients except for the tamarind liquid and the sugar, the white sugar. So you'll add, turn this on, and bring it up to a boil. You add the spices, the chopped galangal, brown sugar, salt, turmeric, I added galangal powder, dried chilies, and coriander, and the fish sauce. And mix it up. And add the meat. And bring that up to a boil. from here on out, after it boils, you need to reduce the heat to simmer, and that's going to simmer for about 3 to 4 hours until this meat is tender and most of the marination has reduced. So I will come back and show you. There are several stages that you want to ensure that you are following to make sure that you get to the end product. So I'll come back and I'll show you what those stages are. There are 3 stages, what they look like. So here's the first stage I want you to observe. The meat is still in solid chunks and the curry is soupy and turmeric yellow in color. This is when I start adding that turmeric liquid into the mixture and then start stirring it around and waiting for the next stage. So it's been several hours and we're finally at the 3rd stage, which is the final stage. The meat is tender, it's really soft, practically falling apart. The curry is reduced to almost by half of its original volume, and it has become really concentrated and gravy-like. And the oil from the coconut has started to separate out. So this is the stage where you can add your white sugar just to give it a little bit more caramelization. And let that cook out for another maybe 15 minutes or so. Give it a little bit more caramelization. I also like to add this coconut paste. It's called coriander, and I actually got this in Malaysia. But what it is actually an unsweetened desiccated coconut that has been toasted and then pounded into a paste. Now you can certainly use unsweetened coconut, desiccated coconut, and then you can toast it yourself and add to it. But this is something that perhaps just gills the lily a little bit. So I will add that to the final product, and it adds a little bit of texture, a nutty caramelized flavor to it. It's very good. So if you have a chance to be to get this coriander, please use it. And then you stir it in, and once again, what you want to do is let it cook down maybe another 15 minutes or so. And then you have a really well made rendang. What I also did, I removed all the lemongrass and the galangal roots and the star anise and the cinnamon and the pods, just so that you don't want to eat that. You just want to eat the gravy and the meat. So here's the finished product, Hasian Sinaga's beef rendang. I'm serving it with steamed rice, a salad of cucumbers, tomatoes, and onions, and homemade sambal.
Hi, Denise.
Hi, Hasi.
How did it go? The dish looks wonderful.
Yeah, it went pretty well. It's not as complicated as it appears on the recipe. You throw all the ingredients into the blender, and then that goes into the pot along with the meat, and then it cooks, for about 3 or 4 hours. But let me show you what it looks like.
Wow, that looks incredible, Denise. Wow, bravo. That's wonderful. Very nice.
Yeah, so I'm serving it with a salad of cucumbers, tomatoes, and onions, and steamed rice, as well as some homemade sambal. So that's my dinner tonight.
Yummy. I have got to prepare this with you. Maybe when I come down to LA at some point, we'll do this together. That'll be wonderful.
Oh, I'd love that. I'd love that. So let me try it.
Okay. Good.
It reminds me of home, Hasi. So I want to shout out to our mother, Ellen Sinaga, for developing this beef rendang recipe. And yes, next time you come down, let's make it together and sit around the table and we can reminisce of all the good memories we have from eating this with our family.
That sounds like a good plan. Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm
Enjoy
gonna go
your
have
meal.
dinner.
Okay.
Okay, I will.
Bye.